When we know better, we respond better. When I know what you're going through, I'm going to be able to respond more appropriately because I understand. If your child is struggling in school and maybe you're frustrated with what's happening and they're not getting what they need from the teacher or the school itself, this episode is for you. I'm Dr. Suzanne Simpson, and I am a teacher of 30 years, and I also taught at a psychiatric unit and did doctoral research about how we support young people. There are so many kids that don't get what they need as a learner. So the importance of teaching them how to self-advocate affects their whole lives. Today, I'm going to tell you 5 little tidbits that teachers believe or perceive and respond to from that teacher lens. And then I'm also going to talk to you about 4 ways that you can help your child self-advocate. And you're going to want to stay to the end because I'm going to finish by telling you a little template I used with all of my psychiatric students of what they can say or email to that teacher that is a really effective route of self-advocacy. So let's start off with the 5 things I told my psychiatric students about teachers that was a game changer for some of them to understand. Here's number 1, is teachers are not all-seeing and all-knowing. We're not omnipotent. We're not omnipresent everywhere. So often I find that students assume that we teachers know something and we actually don't. So it's a really important lens to walk with, knowing the teacher probably doesn't know. There's your first step to self-advocacy because somebody has to tell them. Now, the second thing I've told students about teachers is that we actually don't hope that you all fail. I did not go to teacher training when I was 22 years old at the time so that you could fail. It's not what we do. We want you to succeed. And I remember even when I was a teenager thinking, oh, that teacher wants me to do poorly. It is not the case at all. So knowing and setting up your child to know that that teacher wants your success brings confidence for your child to be able to self-advocate. Number 3 is similar to that, is that we actually want you to succeed. So number 2, I don't want my students to fail. And number 3 is I want them to be successful, which is such a powerful concept for kids to understand because it brings confidence then to be able to self-advocate and approach that teacher. Number 4, teachers love communicators. They love students that communicate. I once had a student approach me, she was in grade 7, this is a long time ago, came up to me one day at lunch and said, I need to tell you I'm dyslexic and I need this and I need this and this is how I learned, blah, 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 blah. I was so impressed. I bent over backwards because she communicated with me what she needed. And let's go back to that first one, that we're not omnipotent and omnipresent. So we like students telling us how they're doing, how they're feeling, so that we know. Number 5 is that we want to know. We want to know what's going on. I worked with so many students that had so many hidden struggles. I have started to say so often since my time with my research is when we know better, Maya Angelou says we do better. I've flipped that as a teacher and as a parent. When we know better, we respond better. When I know what you're going through, I'm going to be able to respond more appropriately because I understand. And again, telling this to your child and building them up in this way that your teacher does want to know brings more confidence back to self-advocating. Now, let's shift into 4 ways now that you as a parent can teach your child to self-advocate. And I'm going to give them to you easiest to hardest. So a level of more support into less support from you, the parent. Here's number 1. I've had this before. I did this myself with students, is write something together. So I'd have kids say, I need to have more explanation on tests, or I need you to understand that I have debilitating anxiety and I can't stay in class because I feel I'm going to lose it, which some kids feel. I wanted them to be able to speak up for themselves, but they weren't ready. So I'd sit with them and draft an email, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to tell you what we would put in that email. And so they had my support, but they were still present. I'm really opposed to us, the adults, doing all the work for the kids, but let's be there with them and model and show them how you're going to approach somebody for what you need. Number 2 is your child could write their own emails. So as they get older, they get more confident. Writing it with them, you're showing them how. Next step is they could write it on their own. I often edited it, but I liked it if kids could get to the point that they're writing their own email saying to the teacher the self-advocacy that has to happen. Step number 3 would be actually going in person, and you as the parent go as backup. So we're now moving from something in writing into going in person. And I did this with one of my kids where I said, I'm happy you get this sort of support, but I want you to go and advocate for yourself because I want you to learn and practice what that looks like because you need this as an adult. And so I went with her to every single teacher she had, and I tried to have her speak as much as she could on her own, and I'd support if she needed, or she'd look to me, or we'd work on it so that she actually, of course, can do it now independently. Step number 4 becomes, as that child progresses, going on their own. So to go by themselves, approach the teacher lunchtime, after school, if you know that they've got a certain break period, and that they actually go and speak totally independently. And really important to understand is you have to do this in the real world as an adult. I can't be there for you, my child, when you're 30 years old at work and you need to advocate for yourself. So we are helping support them through that independence. Now, what happens when kids learn to self-advocate? I'm going to tell you what I have seen with my own colleagues. I have found teachers, like 99% of the time, respond with care and support and appreciation because they're being approached directly, and now they know, and now they can respond better. Sometimes I found teachers shared their own struggles because we are human, and some teachers have gone through mental health challenges or learning challenges. And so it also builds connection with that, and it builds a bond of relationships. And with this, students feel seen. They're not singled out. And now that teacher has their back in the classroom because they do understand. Huge thing to reiterate, when we know better, we can respond better. So we encourage our kids to communicate. A deeper layer of teaching our kids to self-advocate is we're building their self-worth. They feel more confident. They feel more taken care of. They're going to do probably better at school, feel more success, which I've seen absolutely tied to self-worth. We're building their self-worth, and we're making them capable to do what we know that they need to do as an adult. Now, I promised my takeaway here is a format of an email that I always did with kids, and it worked so well. So, hello, teacher's name, right? I want to let you know that I struggle with blah, 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 blah. Now, an important thing I've said to kids is it's your journey. You can tell them what you want to or not, but sharing whatever they're comfortable with sharing of the struggle is number 1. This is what I struggle with. These are my learning challenges. It is hard for me to read. It is hard for me to spell because of my dyslexia. It is hard for me to sit in class because I feel so anxious. So, number 1, this is what I struggle with. Number 2, I learn best when this happens. So I'm going to learn better if I can be allowed to do an audiobook along with the reading, or if I am allowed to go take breaks and I'll give you a sign that just to give me a bit of a break. That is going to be something that would be really helpful for me in the classroom. So this is what I struggle with. This is what I need. And then the third is an appreciation. Just a thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your understanding for helping me do my best, because the other thing we teachers love is gratitude rather than assumptions, and having that perception that the student thinks that they're owed this. So show gratitude. For your encouragement for your child, start small, start where they're at, meet them where they're at, and you help them build as they come along. I'm Dr. Suzanne Simpson. This is Get on Their Turf podcast. Follow me for more Just Me segments every second Monday. And you can click like on that little link below and subscribe to this channel for more tidbits of how to connect with your kids and to get on their turf. I'll see you next time.